All right, so we've talked about how we create conversations with our audience and how we might be able to expand this transactional model of communication. We've discussed this, but one thing we've really not touched on is the concept of value. Value. Now, this is something that is often misunderstood because you, as a strategist, and many cases your client, as the person who is often producing something, whether it is a business owner who has a product or service, or it's a politician who has themselves, obviously they see value. They see they believe that everyone, or at least their target audience, would like to purchase, invest, buy into the thing that they have. They can't get they can't understand why anyone would not see it their way, why anyone would not buy into the thing that they're selling. But as we talked about in week 1 and week 2, a good strategist steps away from the client and looks at the marketplace and tries to understand how the marketplace sees the product. And value is created when you look at the audience and say, how does the audience perceive the product? Do they see how the product fits into their lives? Does it add anything to their lives? Does it create some sort of gratifying feeling to their in their world? Does it enhance their lives in some way, shape, or form? And so chapter 12 and chapter 13 start discussing this concept. And I would like you guys to pay attention to this as you go into these chapters. So chapter 12 talks about creating value. Now, creating value doesn't necessarily mean adding things like coupons or crazy sales. In some cases, it's just a matter of creating a dynamic or a perception within your customer's mind that the thing that you're doing, the thing that your product offers them, is something that is worth something that enhances their overall life experience. And whatever the cost is worth the thing that you're charging them, right? It's worth the investment. So pay attention to this concept in chapter 12. In chapter 13, we'll talk about how value can be created through social currency, particularly through sharing stories. Now, this is interesting as we talk about how the sharing of stories can create value, because we actually see how other people can start sharing their stories and say, this product, this service, this thing enhanced our lives in this way, and this way. This is that evangelical mindset we talked about before. Again, evangelical simply meaning that we are sharing our experiences with you and with other folks. This can be incredibly powerful through social media, so pay attention to this. I've given you a couple of videos to pay attention to here as well. First off, how important it is to build relationships before asking for action. In this case, call to action. So building relationships with your customers and consumers before asking them to actually do something. So I'm building a relationship with my potential audience over an extended period of time, so that when I hit them with a special, when I introduce a limited offer, at that point I can capitalize on those incentives, on those particular elements. Then I've also added a video that talks about why stories captivate audiences. So pay attention to those videos. We are coming to a close on our online courses, so we've only got a few more weeks, maybe a couple more weeks of our online courses, so continue on those. And I've given you an example, or I've given you a quick rundown in the conclusion of this week about lifestyle brands and something I think you can consider. So Read over this week's content and let me know again if you have any questions, concerns, or comments. And I will see you in week 8.